Hi there, Capricorn, Hailing Grasshopper here to do a bonus reading for the month of August. As promised, we're going to use the After Tarot. I'm not sure if it happened in your video, but in one of the videos, the spirit directed me to After Tarot, and I was like, you know what, we should do bonuses. So here I am. And After Tarot, I don't take out very often, so all of these are ours, like that. Here. Reversed? No. Okay. So after tarot, by the way, is a very clever idea um, by Pietro Aligo and Corinne Kenner. Um, really great deck. And it follows very closely the same artwork of the original Rider-Waite Smith deck, and but takes it a step further. It does like the snapshot after what you see in the original deck, like what the next frame might look like. So we've got the moon reversed. Not surprised to see the moon here. Knight of Pentacles reversed. No. Two of Wands. Um, so the moon. The moon is representing here, as it always does, a lack of clarity. Um, but there is a person here that most likely represents the queerance, um, and is trying to assess what's happening. So there's a conscious effort here. There's more than just sitting there like, oh, I don't know. This is more like, okay, but what's happening here? Um, Here we have Knight of Pentacles. Um, so let's go back here for a second. So this is conscious and active looking for clarity, is what I mean. Knight of Pentacles, we have that same knight that we always have at a different angle here, but he's really assessing that pentacle. And the horse really seems like he's ready to go. Um, so there is a beginning to move forward for us. Um, and these two cards in the beginning, Capricorn, I could have guessed were going to come out because this is the way we've been feeling, right? And for those of you who don't know, you're new to the channel, welcome. I am a Capricorn sun, so I'm in the trenches with you. Um, I know exactly how you feel and how we've all been feeling, especially in the past 20 years with Pluto in Capricorn has been, stagnation and, you know, feeling like the universe is resisting our every move. Um, that is beginning to change. By the way, Capricorns, I'm also going to do readings for Uranus in Gemini that's going to be with us for the next 7 years. Um, so we'll talk about that too. Um, but for now, this is pretty much what we've been talking about for the past 2 years in trying to break free from that energy that we feel that we're not getting anywhere. So here we are, the moon trying to make sense of it, and Knight of Pentacles, like, let's go. which I really like to see this because I've seen in the comment box, like, why are you being so optimistic, Grasshopper? Nothing has changed for me. Everything is terrible, and the readings have also reflected that, like a lack of change. But for the past few months, we've been slowly starting to see the change. The Knight of Pentacles has been showing up and that kind of thing. And we've been getting Worlds and Wheel of Fortune, right? So here we are starting to feel a little bit of that energy and really having ants in our pants and wanting to move forward, which is good because the energy that's being provided to us now is supporting that. Two of Wands. Very interesting. Two of Wands is about a choice. Okay. And having optimism and vision of how your choice is going to turn out. Here, this is depicting that same person, but then sharing it with someone else. So there might be something there. We've also been getting, if I'm remembering correctly, Two of Cups here and there, and some lovers, you know. Um, for a great number of Capricorns, we've been going it alone for a while because we haven't had too much room for anyone else in our lives because we've been so encumbered with our struggles. Um, but now we're starting to realize that we do have room in our lives and our hearts for someone else. That doesn't mean, Capricorn, that you necessarily need to go actively find someone, but at least you have your heart open for it if it shows up, which is good. Love this. Five of Cups, we've gotten quite a bit in our readings. Here it is again. But here he is starting to turn around and notice the two cups behind him because I've been preaching at you about those two cups for quite a while. What else we okay. Here, right? Not surprised that the devil is coming out in the center of our reading. The devil is Capricorn's card. And then we've got the King of Pentacles. Okay. The devil is about feeling attached to our misgivings, our supposed bad luck, adverse situations, you know, kind of allowing life to happen to us instead of taking the devil by the horns type thing. Being passive in an adverse situation, we should be more proactive and stepping in for it, right? So here is the devil here, and these two people are now intertwined, but are they still, they've still got the chains there. That's interesting. This deck is just as much new for me as it is for you, by the way, guys. I think I've only used this deck once or twice before. I don't know why, because it's such an interesting deck. But anyway, they are on the ground here in flagrante. So it's kind of like They are losing fear of the devil here. Before they were standing there like frozen like deer in headlights with the chains around their necks, like, oh, we're captive, poor us. Now they're like, F it, almost literally. Um, and making love in front of the devil. Um, so look, this is you starting to realize that you do have power in your life and that you are especially very, very tired. The moon is talking about here because this is you observing things like what's going on here. Um, you are starting to realize that you have more power than you think, because for the past 2 years, Pluto has made us feel like we can't do anything right, that life is happening to us again, like I said before. But that's only part of the story. Yeah, life happens, but we have more power than we think. So here is the King of Pentacles in almost um uh a strength like depiction. You know, the strength card with the girl that's taming the lion. This is the same sort of thing here with the bull here, and the king is stroking the bull, and he's got a coin on top of this bull. It's like he is in control of his own destiny on the physical plane, because this is all about the physical plane. And by the way, the devil commands the physical plane too, and we are earth signs. So this whole line here is all about realizing our power. And August is going to be that turning point where we're going to realize that we are not helpless, that we do have choices, and also that the universe is not working against us. Yeah, Pluto came in and wrecked our sandcastles over and over again, but it was only because, and we're going to talk about this more with Uranus and Gemini, that the universe is trying to get us to release our old habits and our old way of doing things. And especially for the earth signs, you know, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorns, we don't like change. But in this atmosphere, this astrological atmosphere that we're in, we are going to need to change. We can't do everything the same way that we used to, or we're going to get left behind, right? So Pluto was like, put that down. You've got to do this a different way. And that takes time for us to really understand the changes coming toward us. Energy was there to prepare us. And I feel resistance. You guys don't want to hear this. I didn't want to hear it either when I was reading about it. Um, but we don't have a choice. We've got to make changes. Any form or please. sticky because it's somewhat of a new deck. I've had it for a while, but I just, whoops, don't use it all that often. So it's still got that new deck feeling. What do you guys feel about this energy? Let's hear from you in the comments. You guys have been very quiet lately. It does a lot for me to hear from you guys. It's very uplifting and keeps me going. But it helps each other. Let's be supportive of other Capricorns and expressing how we feel. Um, because I'm very sure what you're feeling, the rest of the Capricorns are also feeling. The Tower, of course. Let's see if all of these are ours. Are these all ours? All of them. Like this. Reversed? Okay. Okay. So the Tower. The Tower we know is experiencing a universal force, a force from the universe that we have no control over. It's kind of like the weather. We don't have control over it, it just happens. That's this kind of thing, and sometimes it can be devastating and disruptive. So, yeah, and we've had some disruptive, if not destructive, um, situations in our lives in the past handful of years. Um, that we may have resisted, went through it kicking and screaming the whole time, but none of that kicking or screaming made any difference at all. What is meant to be, period, you know. Um, and I know that sounds contradictory to what I was saying before about taking back our power and realizing we have power. Yes, but there's both there. We need to have a sense, and that's part of what the year is about. Having a sense of what we don't have control over and should save our energy for what we do have control over, right? And knowing the difference. Wasn't there what's that mantra that they say in the 12-step programs and the addiction programs? Um, hold on. Okay, the serenity prayer. Yes. God grant me the serenity to accept things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. That's what this is about, right? That's why we started with the moon here. And this person assessing what's going on, right? And then how the rest of it unfolds here. And having the devil and the tower in the same reading, right? Because they're related, but represents a different ends of what I was talking about, right? The tower is what you cannot change. The devil is absolutely something that you can change. And, there's kind of a sliding scale between the two of how much power you have in each situation. And then learning to discern, you know, where you should direct your energy to produce the outcome that you want, right? So anyway, we won't get too far into that. I think I've made myself clear. The tower here, though, is depicting, that next frame. Not quite the aftermath of the tarot, but what happens in the next frame where you cannot stop this tarot, tarot, tower. Um, it is it is going down no matter what you do. These two people on the ground can do nothing but kind of take cover from what's happening. Um, the other thing is you have the crown here that's fallen off of the tower, which talks about what used to be in place, right? The ruling circumstances. This is everything that we had in place in our past lives. Um, that is no longer viable. It's void. It's not going to work anymore. And this is what I was talking about, how we need to talk about changing because our old worlds no longer exist. And that there's a new world that we're going to need to build that's very different than what we had built before. And here is the crown falling to the ground. What ruled before no longer rules. The Nine of Cups. He is now being served his banquet. Before he was sitting crossed armed in front of his cups that he's acquired and really reflecting on his actions that have brought him there. Now he is celebrating by eating. This is coming after the tower. So this is us after we have acquired these cups, right? But we haven't acquired all of them yet. We will. We are currently, as we move along, going to collect them. But there are two of them behind us here. We're in the beginning of that journey. But I really am thinking now about the Five of Pentacles. Um, because I was going to say the journey that we don't, Capricorns or earth signs, well, it's not just earth signs, just people in general. We hate to be in this part of the journey in the beginning when we're looking up at the mountain that we need to climb, right? And we're at the foot of the mountain and we're like, oh God, gotta climb this mountain. Um, but it's better for us to look forward and appreciate the journey instead of keeping our eye on the peak all the time. Let's bring our eyes down a little to the present instead of constantly looking forward to the future. We'll get there, but let's deal what we have in front of us first. Here is the Four of Pentacles, which is a very earthy card. And we've got the Grim Reaper here looming over him like, all right, you can stop it already. You need to cut this out. He's Grim Reaper is going to shut this situation down. Um, so this is all about embracing change. And I've already talked about that, but that's what this is talking about. This guy is holding on so tightly to these pentacles that he's already acquired in the past. How is he going to receive anything else if he's got his hands full with this? He needs to loosen up, or else he's not going to get anywhere. There is a death that needs to happen here of holding on to the past. Very interesting energy this deck has. You need one more. Well, at least one more, please. Okay. See, is this maybe a little bigger? No, relatively the same size. Felt bigger than my other deck. Not all of these, obviously. This one? Any of these? Top one. Any of these? No. Okay. So these two. Two of Swords. That's interesting. I told you this was a new deck. Is this our card? Okay. That's weird. Let's put this away. It's top card. The Empress reversed. Okay. So we've got the Two of Swords, which is interesting because we started with the Moon. Both of them are talking about a lack of clarity. But instead of him holding the swords, there are two people here opposing each other with the swords. This could mean several things, but for the most part, this is talking about you're reconciling the past with the future, right? Because we talked about needing to let go of the past because the future is going to require us to take a different tactic, a different mode of operation. We can't do um, the same old things that we used to. So this is talking about reconciling between the two. The decisions that we have to make in our lives, and this is an assessment of everything in our lives, right? I don't know. It can be our jobs. Um, are we going to keep the job that we had before because it's not quite serving us the way it used to? The pay is not what we feel we should be getting. A million things. It could be your job. It can be um, I don't know, your car, uh, the way you get to work, the way you move around, your and I'm describing these things as the pictures are coming into my head, by the way. It might sound weird, but um where you live, um where you shop. I just you know, I had a vision of like the produce section in a supermarket. It can be a million of the little things in your life that you're going to need to assess and see what is not working, um, and think of more efficient ways that you can adopt in your life. The Empress, that's really heavy to see here next to the Two of Wands. This is talking about really having a look at who you are because this whole reading and the whole atmosphere that I've been painting for the past few weeks or months is about how we view ourselves and our own power in our lives. And this is absolutely, these cards, absolutely that. And by the way, this blindfold means two things to me in my readings. Is number one, kind of pulling the wool over our own eyes in not wanting to see things that we really do see, but also it depicts a situation where we need to use our intuition as well, in the discernments. So this is all about introspection too, and looking at ourselves and how we're going to change things in our lives, where we're going, and who we are. Yeah, the hanged man. The hanged man is perspective, right? And especially these four cards you can attribute to this card. Fits very well with all of these cards. The moon here assessing what's happening and what needs to be done here. You need to have the right perspective. Knight of Pentacles, what he's going to do with this pentacle moving forward. Hanged Man will help with that. Two of Cups, he's turning around to realize that there are two cups behind him. Requires perspective. You absolutely need perspective when you're dealing with the devil, because that's what the devil is all about, lying to you, right? And the right perspective brings plenty of clarity, right? So in doing that, again, um, we can't be passive and, comfortable in the same old. There has to be an observation and looking forward and assessing what's being placed in front of us, because we're going to need to deal with these things as they come with a fresh perspective. The star, we'll see if that's reversed in a moment. The star is about potential. It's also about, let's see if the deck might be upside down. About what we want for ourselves, wishes. Queen of Cups, protecting our desires, protecting what's inside of our heart of hearts. Where, okay. Is this ours? Yes. Okay. All right. Reversed. Chariot reversed. Good, I'm glad. I'm glad to see the chariot because we've been feeling stagnant. Okay. Hanged Man, new perspective. The star, our wishes. Queen of Cups, our protection and preservation of those wishes. Because, by the way, we should not give up on our wishes, right? Yeah, Spirit just emphasized that. Because I hope that's not what you think. Oh no, I'm using my cards. I hope that's not what you think down here. Well, I was saying, um, especially with the Four of Pentacles, give up what you're clutching to here. That's not what that means. Your wishes can absolutely stay in place. It's how you approach those wishes that you're going to need to change. Okay, that's all. The chariot is movement forward, which is what I love to see because we've felt stagnant for the past handful of years, spinning our wheels in mud, constantly sinking in quicksand. The Nine of Swords is us like, oh my gosh, how are we going to deal with this? Capricorn, it's okay. When we're presented with new energy, it feels daunting, but it's fine. We've got plenty of support from the universe. We've got our spirit guides. We're not alone. And we may have a soul tribe as well on the way too, which is what the Two of Wands is talking about. Two of Wands is so great to see here. The hope and the willingness to have someone in our lives. King of Wands, of course. King of Wands is the entrepreneur card in my readings. He is the innovator. He is the Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk type person who doesn't do things the old way, right? Because here's the King of Pentacles is on the other side of the spectrum as the King of Wands, right? The King of Pentacles is the Warren Buffett to the Elon Musk here or the Jeff Bezos, right? He is comfortable in the old ways. He understands the tried and true and he doesn't deviate and he relies upon the tried and true and has it's always worked for him, right? King of Wands is not about the tried and true at all. He's the opposite. He's about new and innovative and what can I do to disrupt things and bring fresh energy, right? So, King of Wands is very fiery. We are earthy. And this is not saying like earth signs stop being earthy. No, we're always going to be earth, but we have we cannot be 100% earthy. Okay, because we've got the other signs within us too. We've got fire, we've got water, we've got air. We are not just earth. We lead with earth. That's what we lead with naturally, but that's not what we are entirely made up of. So, what this is saying here is that we have got to engage the other elements inside of us. We've got to go for some new and innovative ideas. We've got to be open to it. And by the way, that's also what the Two of Wands is talking about being open to something new. We can do it, Capricorn. We won't die, I promise. Not only will we not die, but, you know, once we open our arms to it, we're going to be like, oh, this is pretty nice. Why was I resisting so much? It's fine. Okay. Do we have advice cards? No. Okay. So this month, Capricorn, our homework is looking around us and seeing what we need to eliminate in our lives. Looking around us and seeing what can we freshen up and change in our lives. Expect the unexpected. And let's not reject everything, every new idea that comes to us, right? Be open to new things, new people in our lives, but with discernment too, because the Queen of Cups does not just open that covered chalice to anyone and anything. She assesses things first. It's okay to have, a little bit of, skeptic or discernment in looking at things that are presented in front of us, but we're not going to reject them right away. Be open and let's have a little enthusiasm for the future because the future is not our enemy. Okay, we have good things coming to us, and we'll continue to discuss that. Okay, guys. Um, don't forget to like and subscribe, please. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and beyond. It is a very quick gesture that costs you nothing but really helps out the channel. So I thank you in advance. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you don't miss the upcoming videos. Um, I'm assuming that you're watching your sun sign, but what you might not know is that you can also get a more complete picture by watching your other signs, your moon sign, your north node, and your rising sign. If you don't know what those are, you can calculate them easily for free online. Just Google calculate my blank sign, find out what the sign is, come back to the Healing Grasshopper channel and listen to the corresponding videos. And you will be able to get even more answers than just your sun sign. Um, Shout out to all of my viewers, my American viewers. I love you and I really appreciate all of your support and your comments. Um, but here's the really exciting thing. And watching my analytics, I see UK, Australia, and Canada showing up. Thank you for your support. It never gets old to see people from other countries watching. But then here come the subtitle watchers. There are Filipinos. Shout out to you guys. Indians, Hindu speakers. Um, who am I? Oh, Portuguese and Spanish speakers. Welcome. Um, I do want to thank you for bearing with the subtitles. If you stick with me and support the channel, once it starts to grow, I will be able to afford dubbing the videos in your language. But for now, please bear with the subtitles. Thank you so much for your support. Um, Cappies, we are on our way out of the quicksands. Um, Let me know if you're feeling the changing energy, or if not, you can express that too in the comment section. I answer every single comment, so can't wait to see you there. Okay? I will speak to you guys soon. Love, light, and many blessings.